This is pretty mad, but the world is actually losing its mind over the Annabelle doll right now. So yesterday I made a video talking about how the Annabelle doll is going on tour across the USA, even though Ed and Lorraine Warren stated, and many paranormal experts have stated, the doll should never be moved. Apparently it needs to stay in the museum, in its cage, where it belongs, and then it'll be like, sound. It gets blessed by a priest once a week, and it goes, he does all the jazz. Throw some holy water on it, job done, see you later, till next week. But people have decided, this is a fantastic opportunity to take the doll on tour. Now, obviously for me, I don't necessarily believe that, I would have to have, the smoking gun evidence, right, that Annabelle is to blame for a lot of the things that it gets blamed for, and that it's actually demonic and possessed and all the rest of it. Obviously, it became really notorious because of the Conjuring franchise. I personally would absolutely want to go and see it just to see if all of the, the hullabaloo around it is actually warranted. But Annabelle is actually getting blamed for some crazy things that are going on within states and cities that it's visited, right? So, in case you didn't know, Annabelle's obviously going on tour, despite, experts in the paranormal stating it should never be moved. Now, Ryan Daniel Buell has posted a video on its tour, and he is obviously hosting the, all of this stuff, right? And he's taking the doll out and about. I think it's been approved by the Warrens' nephew, who I believe is now the owner of the Warren Occult Museum, who's turned it into a bit of a tourist attraction of late, since the late passing of Ed and Lorraine Warren, okay? Though they stated it should never be moved. But since its, departure of the Warren Museum, it's been blamed for a lot of things. So here's some incidents that are quite notable that the doll is currently being blamed for. So we've got the Plantation Fire, okay, so in Nottoway. So on May 16th of 2025, a fire heavily damaged the historic Nottoway Plantation, a grand antebellum of estate in Louisiana, known as one of the largest sugarcane plantations in the state. And the fire destroyed much of the building, which was constructed in 1859. Now, social media posts, especially on X, began linking the fire to Annabelle's presence in New Orleans, noting the timing days after the doll's visit as suspicious. For example, one user wrote, "So they took the haunted Annabelle doll to New Orleans, and the next day the Nottoway plantation burned to rubble." And some posts even suggest that the fire was symbolic, significant, one implying that it was justice due to the plantation's history and site of brutal slavery. So obviously, that's kind of what people have stated online, but this isn't just online. Media outlets have even got their hands on this and have gone as far as to state that, Annabelle is absolutely to blame for the Plantation Fire. And other notable sites, like the Daily Guardian, for example, have even posted YouTube videos about it. Take a look at this. As you can see there, the plantation damage was quite significant, and although there's no direct link, of course there's not going to be, between Annabelle itself and these incidents, people love to speculate about these things. But the other thing that's also happened in New Orleans is a prison break, right? So on May 16th of 2025, 11 inmates deemed armed and dangerous escaped the New Orleans Parish Jail in New Orleans, obviously. And the escape was discovered during a routine headcount around 8:30 a.m. with the prisoners believed to have fled after midnight, and Sheriff Susan Hudson called it a very serious and unacceptable situation, but provided no detail on how the escape actually occurred. Again, ex-users were quickly connected to Annabelle's visit with posts like 3 days ago they moved Annabelle to New Orleans, Louisiana, and now the largest sugarcane plantation in Louisiana burns down, and 11 inmates in New Orleans have escaped prison. But this isn't all, right? There apparently have been more other reported disturbances, more surrounding the Annabelle doll when people have gone to visit it, right? So, other reported disturbances. So, locals and attendees of the Annabelle exhibit reported additional oddities, including electrical disturbances, unusual pet behavior, and unexplained noises in homes near the French Quarter event location. One attendee remarked, quote, "I'm not saying Annabelle caused it, but all of these things happening at once is too much to ignore." So obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's very coincidental, for sure, that obviously, you know, the doll moves in and then these crazy occurrences happen, like a prison break and like a fire at a plantation. And also, you know, more believable, in my opinion, these weird disturbances around the doll itself. I genuinely would love to see footage, right, of someone going in with their pet, for example, to go and visit the doll, just to see how a dog, a cat, and a hamster would react. Goldfish, take your goldfish to go and visit Annabelle. I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, because I think that footage would be quite compelling, to be perfectly honest. And it would be really interesting to see what happens moving forwards with regards to the Annabelle doll and the other locations, because it's obviously not finished its tour yet. I think it's still got 3 locations to go to. So if I believe right, it's got Gettysburg in Pennsylvania still to go to. It's got Rock Island Roadhouse in Illinois. And it's also got Kentucky in Texas. All right, so obviously we've got some other dates and locations that it's still going to be going to. So it'll be intriguing to see if this, you know, thread of occurrences continues moving forwards, if these things and this fallout continues to happen. I genuinely would be curious, because personally, as a skeptic, I suppose, of the Annabelle doll, obviously if things continue to happen, it'll be really interesting to like see if it's in correlation with like the same timeline of events, and, you know, with the doll being there, for example. I don't necessarily think that it's got anything to do with it. Obviously, it adds a really good narrative to the doll, so people are going to try and pursue that. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.